just leave that money in.
I've had a few games being watched here between you lot.
Yeah, I'm sitting next to it. Started 1918.
Did you?
Games I'm interested in, these people never saw. No, most of them didn't anyway.
I suppose most of you don't go now, don't needless to say.
They all go.
I sit next to you, don't you know?
No, about half the people here are regulars. But I mean, Anne sort of starts taking sometimes. We're going to the country game en masse.
The other half will be more regular when you get back down there.
Yeah, that's so.
We get one. Percy's
Dragging their feet a bit.
84. Now his wife don't mind him leaving 5 o'clock Saturday morning. But in 10 years' time, we'll have to be Thursday afternoon to get down here, you see.
I think we all will.
Yourself.
The traffic.
We was down the ground last Tuesday, the old ground, having a look round.
Yeah, I think that Greenwich Council, they've got 3 public meetings in the next week.
Yeah.
I think they're going to delay a decision till January. That doesn't mean to say we couldn't start. And there's a little factor that nobody's mentioned this year now. It seems a trivial thing, but it's important. There's a 3-month waiting list for delivery of steel. And they're going to take whatever else it's going to take a bloody hell of a lot of steel. That can stand right. Now, I've got to decide whether to take a plunge and say, right, we'll order it December, January, so it's ready in February, March. And at the end of the day, you know, you could still get it ready for August. But if they don't get the planning they seek, they've paid a lot of money out for nothing. And if they leave it too late,
It's going to be another season.
They don't know that.
Why are the council dragging their Huckleberries?
I mean, at the end of the day, so the other complication is that when the 2 owners of Sutton bought the valley 2 years ago next March, they had a property developers called Lands Builders who put the money up, in fact. Now, they only put the money up on the basis that they would be able to develop part of the site starting within 2 years. Now, 2 questions now. One, will they get cold feet and the bottoms dropped out of the property market? So you know where the old car park was, they want to build houses, you know that, don't you? And flats up the back of the old. And that's all very well. But who's going to buy them? And will they be prepared to put the outlay out to do the actual building on them if planning permission is granted, you see, in the current market? Because the property slump is going to stay with us for what? It's going to be a year, 18 months in it. So that changes. So, there's a few.
So everything's really
Yeah, but they're not
on the
No, but they're still planning on being back there at the end of the year. I mean, they might build something else there. Now, it wouldn't surprise me to see something else built in the place of houses. If it financially,
What kind of thing?
leisure centre, sorry, if financially it made sense.
What about the sports complex they keep talking about?
Yeah, but
The council seem to be wanting more of it, don't they?
yeah, I mean, you could build one there. I mean, that would be the ideal place to build it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that ain't going to finance the rebuilding of the main stand and all the other things. It's going to cost you 3 or 4 million just to get back in the valley with the basic amenities there, and just a basic new stand. Without that, have you seen that model thing they've got? I mean, that's 25 millions worth. I mean, that's years to come. I've seen it instead of trying to go. I mean, that's years to come now. Just to get in with a new stand right and get it, that's going to take 3 or 4 million. Now, where's that going to come from? The answer is planning, or the cost of the houses, filling the houses. Now, if the houses aren't there and something else is there instead, it's got to add up, isn't it?
What about going public?
Yeah, well, you look at Millwall, they're oversubscribed, but I mean, they've got their own ground in that. I mean, and they're planning it. I would imagine that the time to do that would be when we got back there.
But that's where finance comes from, isn't it?
Yeah, possibly, yeah. I
Do
don't
you think
know.
there's any chance of Cheltenham ever doing a Millwall?
How do you mean?
Well, what they've done now, there was nobody worse than Millwall, was there? Their reputation, the geographical location and everything else.
They've got, I mean, what they've got is that they've got, I mean, I'm afraid to say, that they've got more supporters than we have. I mean, if we, they've done better in the first division than us, but I mean, if we were in the top half of the first division, would we get 17,000 people for one of them.
Yeah.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
know where.
That's it.
wouldn't have 14,000 if they were official budget.
This is it, chicken and
I don't
egg.
think
No.
so. I don't think
No.
so. That's the problem.
No.
I would still be getting involved in.
Well, that's a moot point, isn't it? I mean,
No, I don't think so.
we don't know the answer to that, do we?
Well, they weren't getting many before that.
Before we left, right, I mean, it's only second division football. Before we left there,
Yeah.
we played, in that second division season that we went up, we played 6 consecutive home games in the second division. We bought 6 new players that summer. We won all 6 games at home. And we were 4th or 5th in the league when we left the Valley. We never got, apart from the local derby with Palace where we got 7,500, we never got above 4.5, 5 for any of the games.
But it was early in the season, if it had been sort of 2/3 of the first season. we
Sure.
played there with the
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, if you go back to the Valley and we're not in the first division,
trouble.
after the euphoria is worn off, we'll be back to what we were before.
Yeah, it's crucial to go back to
If we're not careful, I mean, without wishing to appear defeated, if you're not very careful, the bloody thing in 10 years is going to go full circle.
Yeah.
You'll be back at the Valley, all right?
Yeah.
You'll be in the second
Probably
division.
the same.
Your best players may have to have been sold.
Yeah.
And like it's going to be, when I came in 82, if you're not careful, it's going to be like that in 92.
Yeah.
Now, that's no good.
Yeah.
What's got to happen is, you've got to be in the first division when we go back there. But
Oh, yeah.
it's not bloody easy when you ain't got no money.
You're always down the money, doesn't it?
Why are you talking about players and making sure you've got the right team there to do the job if you're going to keep the momentum going? There's a story about Paul Williams in the press. I think.
I mean, the performance of the game was thrown away.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Right.
So now, you've got to look at it and you've got to say, okay, we've had a bad run, but we've had bad runs before.
Yeah.
You've got to look at it and say, will the existing players get us out of it or won't they? Now, there are 1 or 2 things I'm looking at that I don't like the look of. So, that thing in the papers is just a massive kick up the arse to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't want it or they don't want to do what they've done in past years, then it may be best for people to go and you say that to see what comes in, what bids come in. Williams is the last to go.
Yeah.
He's your best player.
He's a goal player.
But what it needs, that club, it needs a change of face. It needs 2 or 3 players in and 2 or 3 out. What it needs is 2 or 3 in first. That's what it needs.
Because you can't
I've
change
got the
it.
money to do that without getting 2 or 3 out.
I suppose the theory that Liverpool have, they got a first team playing in the reserves, and the blokes in the first team haven't got a place.
There's no
You're in a
comparison.
different world, aren't
I
you?
know you're in a different world, but that's what he seems to have
Well,
done, isn't
you take Tottenham, I mean, all the players they got there, they're not really doing well, and they didn't do well against Charlton.
No, but they
They got the
they
points,
got
we know
players
that.
we'll never have because we can't afford it.
No, but I don't say that they're a success.
Yeah, but who the hell...
Nice to try though, wouldn't it?
How come they've all got
Has it-
millionaires behind these?
Nice to try, wouldn't it?
They've all got millionaires behind them and we haven't.
Yeah, we got a millionaire. I mean, Roger Owen's a millionaire. I mean, the man's got so much money in, you can't expect him to keep doing it.
Oh no, it's a lot of money. You need a lot of money.
Not.
So when you look at Arsenal,
Working on
they haven't spent billions on players. What's their highest?
What happened was with George Graham is that he was fortunate enough to inherit some outstanding young players that it only happens once in 30 or 40 years. Mitchell Thomas, Rocastle and all them. O'Leary was not young but even in those years. I mean, he brought 800 grand for Alan Smith. The left back cost 300. Brian Marwood cost 600 or 700. I mean, he's done very well in terms of players in and out, George, but he could go and spend £2 million on a player if he wanted to. The fact that he doesn't choose to is up to him. I ain't got that choice.
What sort of spotters, or the old, we used to call them spotters, looking for the youngsters? I mean,
We don't do bad getting kids through. We've got some good kids, but I mean, first division's a hard place. You know, you ain't going to produce loads and loads. I mean, we've had the odd one through in recent
no
years.
better football played really in South East London than Kent. It's good.
And the competition for kids amongst professional clubs has never, ever been greater.
Yeah, they get them early, don't they?
Every club. I mean, if you go out the road here on a Sunday and there's a good side playing, there'll be people from Tottenham, Arsenal, everybody.
But Rocastle's a local boy, isn't he?
Forest Hill.
Most
Michael
of
Thomas
them
is
come-
local.
Yeah. There's a lot of them that played at other clubs. You'll find they come from South East London.
Wallace brothers, they both come local, didn't they?
Greenwich.
Yeah.
You think about it,
don't start, they all got to start at the bottom, come from small leagues.
Because the glamour and probably the other problem.
We've had a few though in the past.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Paul Williams came from Southern
They all
League.
run inside league. This is
Local. But we've had them for years and years and years, haven't we? Because as soon as they got the digital players, they sold them.
Who do you play for?
Oh yeah. Never
Stayed
spent
up
it
down
at
at
all.
Welling United.
Oh, I don't know whether it was official, one of those teams that came in, the other week. Yeah.
Liverpool and Paddy Arnold.
Oh yeah.
You've still been up there if you bought the
I
flat.
think it's going to be, you haven't got to spend £1 million to get a lot of players.
No, but they're hard to find. We got Paul Williams at Southern League.
You've got to give the youngsters a chance. You've got to take a chance with the youngsters. You've got one or two down there.
Yep.
Give them a chance.
Yep.
They can't do any worse.
Wouldn't you have thought the children had bought our guest a cup of tea?
Don't mind you.
Yeah, sugar drink. I'm going to do it.
Ah,
One sugar.
Get to
I was going to ask you a question, I've got one or two questions to ask you.
yeah, Malcolm, we went to look at him. In fact, our chief scout went to look at him, but he didn't play because he was injured the Saturday before last. But he's one to keep an eye on because we lent one to him.
There's a lot of stuff after.
Yeah, we lent one to Fisher.
Do you think?
Going backwards.
Going backwards.
Do you think that's because he's...
I'll tell you what he needs, Watson, apart from a kick up the arse on frequent occasions. He needs to go on loan to a 3rd or 4th division club, someone like Mason or Gillingham, to go in where it hurts. That's where he needs. That's what he needs.
What do you think of Lennie?
Well, I was talking to Watson over at
He's not
the...
doing Robert Lee. Yeah, he's playing right. He's not doing a bad job.
I was talking to Watson over the youth match the week before last when they played.
Yeah.
And all he was talking about was going to the nightclub up Surrey somewhere. And this sort of thing. Well, that's
I'm afraid kids of today.
How old is he now?
18. He hasn't got. You see, his problem is he had a taste of the first team at the start of the season. He played in a pre-season game at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
He was in the squad. He was on the bench a couple of times. He lacks the maturity and the intelligence to handle the situation. All of a sudden he's big time Charlie, and he ain't done nothing really. He's only sat on the bench.
Yeah.
And yet when he goes back in the reserves, he's a joke. Atchington in front of him.
Yeah.
Miles in front of him.
Yes,
Yes, he's good.
Miles in
Yeah.
front of him.
We talked about him before you came in.
Good. He's somewhat older though, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean he's 22, 23.
Yeah.
He's got those extra...
Oh yeah, I'm not saying Watson is finished. I'm not saying that at all. He's got a 2-year contract and hopefully he'll develop, but he ain't making too much progress at the moment.
He's got a lot to learn about life.
Yes. He can score a goal. That's what he can do. But he can't do anything else. And we don't know yet whether he can score a goal in the first team.
We need that,
I
don't we?
bought you a cup of tea, Lennie. Poor old pensioner.
But he couldn't play with Williams. He's too lightweight. He's not brave enough. He's not strong enough. He's not skillful enough.
No.
Those things may come.
Who's that?
Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's what he should do.
But he's.
You haven't put sugar in this, have you?
Not in yours, no. Don't know whether else, but yes.
It's a problem.
How about our friend Lee Byrne? He's
Well, I thought he
going
played
on
for
a
the
right
first
thing.
time Saturday, and
Yeah.
I thought we linked up much better.
I do think too.
Jones, I'm
Yeah.
afraid to say that Jonesy and Williams as a pair, their understanding, in spite of all the coaching in the world, is non-existent.
Yeah.
They are not a pair, and they cannot.
But he's very unselfish, Lee Byrne, wasn't he? He
Well,
gave
he-
every opportunity to him.
He give what he does is he makes space
Yeah.
for Williams, and Williams looks an infinitely better player
Oh yeah.
with him there.
The trouble is, though, Lennie ain't got over that sort of 6, has he?
So
He kicks the ball against the ball in the paper, expecting somebody to run under the rebound.
he don't score. At the end of the day, we need somebody like Carl Lee Byrne
Yeah.
who scores a goal. That's going to cost you.
But I still say he's good. I always said so.
He's not bad.
Yeah.
He's best. He's
His
better.
best goal was against Wimbledon. Go on.
Oh yeah, on a bad
The
foot.
best one was against Aston Villa last year, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was. Yeah.
We know the trouble with him. We know he can't score a goal, but at least
Yeah.
Williams does when he plays.
Yeah.
He scores from time to time for the reserves, doesn't he?
He's
Yeah, that's what goes wrong.
he's still only a youngster though, isn't he?
It's only 19, 20.
Yeah.
People expect too much, you see.
Well, they shouldn't do. He's
That's the way of it, isn't it?
They
pay
could
their
ruin
money
a player
there.
though,
People
can't
still
they?
think of Jimmy Greaves, don't they? He
Yeah.
came in when he was 17 and was a world beater, sort of.
Well, you get them once in a while, don't you?
Yeah.
You don't expect them to come out of the hat every week.
It's good having
Yeah.
a cup of tea.
Oh, yeah.
Have a guest speaker.
But I still think, but it's,
So how long have you been running this thing?
Since February '88 it started.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's come
Do you get these sort of numbers every week?
Yeah. It's all regulars.
So what do? You just come, just come in this room and have a chat?
Yeah, we talk childhood, talk football, present and past. Ex-players come down from time to time.
Do they?
Yeah.
Who have you had down
Well,
there?
Derek Upton came down. When did he
Did he
But
really?
we've had people like players from
The
the
old
Georgia
players.
Green and
Have you?
Yeah.
Charlie
George.
Green.
He came to Gordon once. One of the last games at the Valley.
Yeah.
I definitely remember him coming to the border after the game.
He's never get it.
Yeah.
Personally met him.
No, that Hobbit, you had him. The midfield sounds so he is.
Lennie, you should have been here the day George was here, and we were talking about the 1939 tour of America.
Yes.
Well, not only did we have the words, we had the actions. He went out of that door, shut it, came back in, and that was Jimmy C. down to the phone.
Sailor Brown was sick before they left Harry's, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Sailor Brown, yeah.
Now you can sign him up. There you've got somebody.
Yeah, they had some good players, didn't they?
Yeah, I should
So
say.
you mentioned Kenny had a good form, is it?
Yeah,
Just
he's funny,
spoke
Phil.
about it.
Yeah, does he play tomorrow?
Yeah. Yeah. Crooks will be back soon, so he'll be back next week in reserves.
Is he tied up with his...
He's got too many outside interests.
Yeah, that's the point, isn't he? Yeah.
But he's at the end of his career, so...
Yeah. If he can get a couple of goals though, you know.
Yeah, he can't
But see,
discount anybody.
it's a question of who you drop with. You can't drop. I can't see you dropping any of those.
Crooksy, he's the chairman of the
He'd have to play up the front, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but you've got to drop some,
He'd have
haven't
to
you?
play up front with Williams if he played, but that leaves you a bit short of
God,
time.
yeah.
Then Joe McLaughlin's been
Yeah, he's been alright,
same,
yeah.
same.
Yeah, he's sound enough.
You'll never get round to asking
Yeah.
that.
I know.
Come on, crack on.
What have we got?
How many is there down there?
Did you realise that the three of you that were on BBC Two?
Oh, down the bottom of the league, yeah, we know that.
Oh, yeah.
Next question.
What about questions?
Has the relationship with Selhurst and Palace changed at all since the move's been released?
Well, I mean, they played a few reserve games on the pitch, which they shouldn't have done, we never used to allow. It's gone cool. No. I mean, strictly speaking, I think we're on 2 years' notice, so if we had to stay there next year, they couldn't stop us. No, this...
You do the two sets of directors sort of mixing quite easily.
We never play him, do we? Never see him.
Yeah.
I never see Steve Cotton from 1 month to the next.
Yeah.
We're never there. The only time is if we play in a reserve game, same like last week. Never see him from 1 minute. I mean, I go over to Selhurst Park very occasionally, because obviously we run from the training ground. And their office at one end and ours at the other. I wouldn't even think.
What about the matches against Palace? Who's going to have the dressing room?
No,
It's strictly
our home game is, which our home game? April or December? I can't remember.
Yeah, and the other one's next.
We run it our way, and we have our own crowd where we want our own crowd, and they are in the
Oh, that's right.
when it's their game, it's vice versa.
Yes.
We're talking about, the terraces. That end pen's been closed off all season so far. Now, what is this? Is there any sort of likelihood that's going to be reopened? And why is it being
Well,
closed?
they
It's
did it.
not close to Palace games, is it?
Didn't see that.
They did it Saturday, didn't they? No, they opened up all that. The other end for the...
Well, the end pen near the Oldstone Road.
Yeah, they closed.
No, it was closed.
Don't know the answer.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
That's a question
yeah.
for the general manager.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be the same Barton go,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I know.
What about offers? Have you had, over the summer there was the Williams Humphreys?
Yeah, I mean the mistake there, everybody was screaming the place down about not taking the money for dinner. They seem to be not bothered about where the Williams went, which I find strange really. But there was a lot of, I mean it affected us in some small way. The mistake would have been not to sell them, the mistake would have been to sell them for $1 million.
Yeah.
That wasn't enough money for the two of them.
Oh, yeah.
Now that's changed. I mean, we've lost 5 games on the trot. Now, we've had worse runs than that. Now, if we don't pick up in the next 2 or 3 league games, we've got a crisis on our hands. And drastic action may have to be taken. Because we ain't got the money just to go out and buy.
But what could you do?
Sell to buy.
It's a pity, really,
You've
because
got to juggle. You might have to sell 2 to buy 1 or sell 3 to buy 2.
most of those 5 games have never ever been lost. I mean,
Don't matter. They lost.
yeah, but I mean the team's been playing well.
Well, yeah, but I've heard that too many times.
Yeah.
It's been going on
Yeah.
for the last
I was reading your article this morning in the Sun, and next to your article it had about Francis, Queen's Park Rangers. Now he's asking £4.5 million, 2 players. Now how the bloody hell can you pay that?
But how can he get it?
Yeah.
You can ask what you like, it's what you get that matters.
That's right.
I can't pay that.
It's getting beyond all.
No, you've got to look around and try and shop
Yeah.
for bargains and just juggle it about. And
Yeah, but he's got money coming out of his ears compared to you, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have there been any other offers that you turned down?
I can't discuss offers here.
No, not really,
There's
no.
nothing,
Over the past
no,
year or
there's
so.
nothing concrete apart from that one that came out in the press. There's nothing major.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think, though, I had the impression on Saturday that you're only 1 or 2 players away from having a very, very good team.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, a striker and a midfield player away.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
But that will cost you. That will cost you £1 million,
Yeah.
and that's conservative. Those two.
You honestly don't feel then that you've got the players within the club at the moment to put in to get the result we want?
The man's right. To make us a good side, we need 2 players from the outside,
From outside.
and that will cost us realistically £600 or £700 for a striker and £400 from us. 1 million, maybe just a bit over. They are at the moment. Now the young ones might develop, maybe,
Yeah.
but at the moment, at this
Can't
point
wait.
in time, they are not in the club.
See, the players don't seem to be the first at times they was. I mean, when we watched Charlton, you had Eddie Fernandez, who was a good fullback. And a good
He was there Saturday, from
You had Brian Lindsay, who was a good fullback and a good winger.
I think
Well, that Huey.
John Welsh, who played in 3 different positions for England.
I think
Matt Huey.
you had. I think it's fair to say that
He
you
played in goal.
played every game. Every position.
they had better players in the 30s and the 40s and
Different games as well.
different games,
You had a
different players.
you had a difference of opinion with Atkinson over it.
But I thought, I think somebody wrote about it in the paper. I think that English players in a certain style of football can be just as skillful. What I'm saying to you is in English football, the game is so fast and it's so pressurised. Now, if you've got that Sky Television, if you look at them Spanish games,
Yeah.
it's different.
How would you like to have Alan Simmons down here?
Well, I think you'd have more chance now because we're a better team now. See now, he was a world-class player. Let's say he was a great player when he came to us and we put him in a bad team. So all he became was a good player in a bad team. Now, if we're half decent now, he could make more of an impact, but financially that was
I think that's what's wrong with him. That he is the speed that he's played with. I mean, in the old days, you had people who used to put their foot on the ball, slow it down, and look. Whereas today, it's all
you try doing that now.
I know, you do it on your arse.
The days of Alex Jones and Stacey Brown now. 4 players.
Those players, I'm sure, would have adjusted to the pace of today's game. Maybe the players today would have been looking in the past. I don't know. All I know is the only thing in common with the game in those days is the goalposts.
Yeah.
No, the ball's not. The ball's different.
Yeah.
The ball's different.
I mean,
The ball's a lot lighter.
Never so tough. The goalposts are not the same. They're right now. They used to be square.
No nets.
Everything's different.
No nets. No, plastic nets.
And talking to some of the other areas that go, I mean, they have the same problem year in and year out, match. When they get to the box, they don't want to see them hit the ball into the net. It appears to me
they fucking spend
they're
so
trying-
much
They want
time.
to get rid of the ball all the time. Instead of saying that I've got the ball, there's the goal, have 6 shots and score 1.
They're encouraged. They get,
I mean, what's the problem?
if they have a shot and they miss, there's not a word of criticism. If they have a shooting opportunity and don't take it, they get a bollocking. But it's they got to have the confidence and the courage to take it. I mean, we spend more time doing them type of practices than we've ever done.
That's how I see it. They get the ball in the box and they want to give it to someone else.
You used to have players like Mike Bailey come through, he could score a goal, couldn't he? But he's done
Good player, ain't got nothing like him, mate. Well, I think Williams is a better player than Owsley. Owsley never scored in the first.
He's a better footballer.
Owsley never scored him in the first.
He was never a
That was the
footballer.
trouble with Aldi, wasn't it? He went up to
Never scored him in the first.
Derby and he was
No.
with West Ham and he was...
They never played with. That's why they were given the opportunity. George and
Tell you what,
no.
I'll tell you what, if you heard Al playing now and you give him the ball on the left-hand side of that box, he'd score goal.
Yeah, I don't doubt he would. But
He was fast over 25 yards. That's
right, you go.
Fast over 25 yards.
All that.
You just talking about training, coaching. How much do you leave that just to Mike Flanagan?
He's the best coach I've had since I've been there.
Really good.
Yeah, he's very good. Very good. Usually when they stop playing and make the transition, it takes ages. I've had 3 or 4 different coaches with me. If sometimes I've done most of the coaching myself. Now he does 60% of it, and I do 40% of it. He's good. But at the end of the day, you know, the coach can go so far. At the end of the day, the players have got to put it in operation. I mean, like when we won I won the manager of the month, I said, "Oh, I'm a good manager and he's a good coach." Now we've lost 5. But we're the same person.
Yeah.
He's the same coach and I'm the same manager. At the end of the day, it's what happens out there. But he's good. Yeah, he's good.
Hey, can I ask this particular question? And it bugged me on Saturday. We had 5 corners on the trot, didn't we?
Yeah.
Or 5 or 6, right on the trot.
Yeah.
And each time, that ball was put in the same place, the near post.
Well,
Which
thought
wasn't
had a height-
effective.
We thought we had a height advantage with Leeburn and McCloughan.
Well, he was over the back, with the far post.
Waiting for a knock on.
Never got a reach.
No,
Only the last one reached him.
Service was crap, but normally we do quite well at near post corners. We've
Yeah.
experimented in recent away games with short corners, different corners, and had a bit of joy.
Yeah.
It's all about the service. It's not.
We don't score many from corners.
No, we don't let many in either.
They get a throw in against a bloody goal. That annoying, wasn't it?
That's the first goal we've let in from a set play all the year.
What
Apart
is
from Arsenal's penalty, we count that as a set play.
It's annoying, that, wasn't it? But that was the end of the game, wasn't it? You know, bar Charlton was
No, it was 4:37 when they got their first goal.
That's right.
And at 4:46 we were losing 3-1.
Yeah, amazing, wasn't it?
That's the problem.
There was no support there for Spurs until they scored.
No.
You can see he had golden goal tickets, can't you? He was looking at the time.
Right, next call in. Crack on.
Walshy seems to be doing.
Yeah, he's recovered very well from the break in his leg. He isn't exactly as he was, and it's going to take him till Christmas at least to get exactly as he was. But he's made, he played well Saturday, he's made a great effort, and he's done as well as could be expected at this stage. So he done well Saturday, wasn't he?
Confidence back.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's learned when to go into attack or when not to. Which he didn't do before he broke his leg. He was too reckless by it.
I think he's when he did that now.
Ludicrous. Ludicrous tackle. Yep.
What else have we got then? Well, one of yours, Les. Why is the Palace flag flown on Charlton Watchdogs?
Annoys me, you can't see that up there.
Didn't even know it was there.
That's the point. I'm going to burn it.
I'll pass it on to the general manager. I
Yeah.
really don't know.
Well, I mean, we've got a flag, haven't we?
How aware are you of the sort of history of the club and
What, Charlton?
Charlton history?
Yeah, like, you know, Derek obviously was a link.
Yeah.
Derek after the link with the past. Yeah, I think you can. I mean, you could catch me out on sort of details. I mean, I'm sure that you could, but I mean, trends in the past.
Yeah.
People say, for example, Charlton was a big club in the 50s. It wasn't. By that time, if you compare the Charlton crowds with Spurs and Arsenal crowds, the decline had already well and truly set in.
That is
It
true.
was only in the 30s and just after the war that it was really big.
That's one of the
And the chance to make Charlton a Spurs or an Arsenal disappeared forever when they didn't build the ground and develop the things
turn it round,
in the late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
Because people, I mean, Woolwich Arsenal started at Woolwich, so now people are starting, when you go back years and years, people are going from Woolwich, going past Charlton, to go to Arsenal.
Yeah, well, a lot of people always did. Still do. I worked for a coach firm in Jersey, and we used to run always. Because they started at Plumstead and people still went
Past Charlton to get there.
Highbury. To Highbury. How would you like to see this result? Charlton 7, Manchester United 1. I did.
Right. I was there.
In the 30s or the 40s.
1938.
Yeah.
Those,
Liverpool 1, Charlton 5.
the days to make them in Liverpool or Manchester United disappeared, I'm afraid, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
When you'll never do it. I mean, people get annoyed when I say that. You will never do that. Because at the end of the day, 40,000 people will watch Everton, Liverpool, Man United, Tottenham, Arsenal, and you will never get, again, 40,000 people to watch Charlton.
Well,
You think they missed the boat?
Absolutely.
yeah. Blixton was in trouble.
They had to develop it. I mean,
Not
it's,
East Park.
No, the Suns.
in the 50s, right, Spurs and Arsenal, and in the 40s and 30s, there was no difference. I mean, you know, Charlton was as big as anybody, realistically. But the chance to become a modern club after the war, was never taken.
No.
The traditional club was never built on. They must have made a fortune in 1947 when they got the cup final.
Same old toilet for them.
That's the old. I'll tell you what. When we left there, we had the accounts in the old boardroom going back to 1932. The only year that was missing was 1947.
Was it so?
Yeah, true story. That.
I could when rain around the fire.
That's 1947.
So that's when you build on it. I mean, that's when you say, right,
Yeah.
you know, but they never did in the 50s and 60s. They sold,
Yeah.
well, not so much the late 50s, 60s, they sold 70s, they sold the best players.
30 years.
Varane went for about 46,000, something like that.
Now, it's only,
Abroad,
Charlton's only entered the modern era, if you like, in the 80s. All they've done in the 60s and 70s is produce the occasional half-decent team, the Flanagan, Howes and Peacock team. In the mid-70s was all right before they sold Flanagan and Howesy. In the late 60s they had a team that just missed promotion, didn't they? In 68 that wasn't bad, but apart from that, in 20 years previous to the start of this decade, 25 years really, since they got relegated in 58, bugger all's happened. No. Nothing's happened.
No.
Nothing's happened.
No, that's
now,
right.
at least in the 80s, since 82, lots of bad things, but some good things as well. At least a few things have happened. Like the liquidation was diabolical, but I mean, at least out of that came something.
Yeah.
And we got to the first, we had grounds, which is not, you know, we're going back there and blah, 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 blah. So at least there's something to try and get out of. Now, what we can't make bloody sure is we don't go full circle.
No.
And the answer, I'm afraid, lies when we get back to the valley. God willing, we're in the first division, touch wood. But if they don't come back in numbers, we are finished.
And I would say, personally, I've met a lot of people who like Charlton inside out. I say, Stu, you go now? Oh no, I don't go. Wait till they come back to the valley.
There's 50,000 people who look at Charlton's result first.
Yeah.
And about 5 or 6 or 7 who go. It's not enough to look at it and be a supporter. They've got to go then. If they don't go there in numbers, it ain't going to work.
You can only prove that the wood is in the eating, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But you know, there was a remark attributed to Michael Jackson back in the 50s when they spoke to a set to him about buying players. And he said, let the crowds come back first. This is when the crowds started drinking. Let the crowds come back and then we'll buy players. But have you ever opened a shop and waited for people to come in for before you dress?
It's a long way round, I'm afraid.
I know, but this is what was attributed to him in the 50s.
Well, it sounds true. That's exactly what's happening.
I know. When you see what's happened now, you can see that the remark must have been true about it.
Yeah. See what you're trying to do in the last 5 years, if you like. You're trying to put right 25. It's bloody hard. That.
Yeah.
That's hard.
We've got a good nucleus of
Yeah, I mean, we're all right. I mean, you know, we just got to get back there and we've got to find out.
But I mean, the sooner they get back,
I make no bones about it. I mean, if we don't get, I mean, we've got now a 7,000 hardcore, I reckon.
Yeah.
7,000. Whoever we play at Sellers Park, it's gone up from about 5 to about 7. So perhaps 6.5, 6, and let's say absolute bottom line, 6,000 hardcore will go to the first division game regardless. Right. Now that 6,000 hardcore has got to become 10 to 12, 10 at least. Now if it don't, then my sympathies for Charlton supporters, the feelings I've got, will disappear. Because all I've heard is back to the valley and over. Now they've got to come.
The thing is, what you've got to be thankful for, you haven't got to be hard enough to
But we ain't that. No.
Would you think
No.
Would you think that success?
We ain't that sort of club.
No, I don't think we're that sort of club.
Well, Charlton, I'm afraid to say,
never
Charlton is not in the least bit fashionable.
Never has.
Football-wise, and certainly not hooligan-wise. Now that's a bonus in some respects.
So it's fashionable to be
But
unfashionable.
we've been unfashionable, especially with the press, since I can remember. Since I first learned to read.
Oh yeah, it's not new.
It's one of the questions was actually...
I know it's one of the questions, but actually my memory goes back to pre-war days where we were walloping everybody.
Never had a good press.
And we never had a bloody good write-up. That twit with his brown bowler, I know where I'd like to have stuffed it, because you used to have half the back page of the Express, and the last little bit was who scored the 3 bloody goals. The rest of it was about the director's wife's new
It
dress.
seems also often that match reports in the press will be, if it's say against the top team and Charlton win, it's how badly the top team played, not how well Charlton played.
It's life, I'm afraid.
We'd have won that match, isn't it?
Not of that.
Yeah, but you get that on the television.
Yeah.
Liverpool haven't played how we know. I was always taught that the opposition play as good as you allow them to play.
But that's life.
There's one thing about Charlton coming back is that since those days, or at least over the last 10 to 15 years, you've had a very good increase in the population around Charlton. I mean, so you've had housing estates built, but one thing and another.
Well, yeah, but
So you
there's
should
a lot of
get
factories.
by rights.
Yeah, but are they as nutty as we are?
Have one.
Are they as nutty as we are? You don't want to go.
Well,
we're talking about
that's what
size.
we've got
Lennie,
to do. We say Charlton's not the only club that's in this position. You can say
One
that
thing
50% of the first division clubs are nearly bankrupt. That's a
I
fact.
know they are, but I mean, when you hear about Manchester United, you read in the paper that they haven't won the league for so many years, 20 odd years. What God give them right have they got to be champions?
Certainly not.
To Wigan Athletic?
Certainly not.
That's my attitude.
Well, Charlie did prove it in 1937, 38.
I know.
Well, there you are. He can become the game.
Hang on.
All that,
I've been doing it like 7 years now.
The only way to success is to get a winning team. Now, Lennie's here got a hard
How many
job to get
seasons
his winning
has-
team because he hasn't got the money to get it. But money doesn't all buy success. Some of these clubs that I've quoted of recent years, Sunderland for instance, they spent over £9 million to try and get a team come out of First Division. So money don't buy success.
I know, I always have said money doesn't
Got to get a team that will bleed together. And I've seen Charlton team.
Come on.
Go on, have the next question.
I was going to say, I've been with the club 7 years,
Yeah.
and in that time you've seen a lot. And I mean,
Suffered a lot.
very, very rarely has Charlton been in a comfortable mid-table position, whatever division you've been in. Because you've had to have either the trauma of promotion, or the trauma of the playoffs, or the trauma of relegation battles, what have you. And of course, with the move, there was a sort of strong feeling against the club, and lots of support, people feeling bitter and let down, severely let down by the club. But then in the last couple of years, you've had things like Voice of the Valley coming out, and sort of the supporters trying to sort of galvanise feeling amongst themselves, and starting to stand up and speak for themselves, and communicate with the club, encouraging the club to communicate. I mean, how far have you gone to try and sort of encourage? I mean, you've come down here today, which is a positive thing.
I'm going to the Supporters Club AGM next Thursday.
Yeah.
I mean, we allow Steve Dixon and Rick Everett, who run that Voice of the Valley, access to the players' point of views. I mean, we reserve the right, I mean, they put things in the programme, we reserve the right to amend one or two. They go a bit over the top sometimes, but basically, you know, we check what they do, but, you know, in their Voice of the Valley thing, if it's an interview with a player, we more or less let them get on and do it. You know, they come at the training ground, they've got access to the players. Some of the things they do are a bit over the top, but then that's the way of them fanzines, isn't it? I mean, most Supporters Club magazines, that's how they go. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a small club, and you think you need some sort of. I mean, Charlton, when Sundays were in charge, I mean, the public relations side of Charlton was nothing short of diabolical. That's up to a couple of years ago. Nothing short of diabolical. Now, I think the public relations side of it is important. You know, there's got to be communication through, whether it's newspapers or the programme or Voice of the Valley, between, and that's improved, I think. I think you Rick Everett and your Steve Dixon and them sort of people would say that.
It's positive, that their actions are positive. Which I suppose also brings us on to the football membership bill, spectators bill. Colin Moynihan sitting in the director's box at Charlton.
He's a mate of the chairman, isn't he? I mean, he's a political animal, and the strings are being pulled by Mrs Thatcher. It will be done. He's got to do it, or he loses his job.
It's just,
end of.
For example, a lot of other clubs have been very outspoken in their opposition to the scheme. Charlton don't seem to be.
No, because he's a mate of the chairman.
Millwall, for example, allowed petitions to go around on the terraces. People signed opposed to it. Charlton initially didn't.
No, he's a mate of the chairman.
What were those things we all signed at Selhurst Park?
They were petitions, but they weren't supposed to.
Having said that, the chairman is opposed to it. The chairman is opposed to it. He just probably doesn't think that is a correct way to go. Oh, he's told Colin. I've been there when he's told him that he's wrong.
I think
it's a political thing.
Because the supporters see Colin Moynihan turning up from week to week, and they think, why the hell is? I mean, okay, he's a mate, but what? He's everything he's doing.
Then he goes to a lot of games, doesn't he? I mean, he doesn't just go to it.
Oh, he says he's a Charlton supporter, I suppose. He got him for nothing every week.
Right, has anyone got any more questions?
Come on, what about
We've been through most of these, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh, will you refuse the next manager of the month?
I think I've better add.
You shouldn't have shared it with the players before the match.
Well, I mean, I've only had 3 since I've been there. I mean, I've got one in the second division, which didn't affect things too much. I mean, it happened to Chris Nicholas Hampton last year, didn't it? I think
Yeah,
for
that's what we were saying.
Won a game
They
against
sort of
Norwich.
Norwich, went in and went straight down the bottom.
And like I said in the
It's a bit
papers,
light-hearted, mind you. It wasn't really needed.
I got it 3 years ago, and then
Yeah.
after a very good run, and we never won for 2 months.
Yeah.
Have you got any superstitions? No, at all.
Minor things,
I'll
but
tell you what
nothing
mine
great.
is, as soon as you get back to wearing black socks and the old red and white tops, the sooner we start winning.
Used to have what I call Manchester United socks, black with that red and
No,
white.
Charlton Athletic socks, long before Manchester United ever happened.
Yeah, that's right.
Our socks used to be black with 3 red rings and 2 white rings in the 30s.
White colour,
It's interesting.
red shirt.
Where's that picture?
There it is.
There they are.
That's in the 30s, Lennie.
New shopper, chap for new shop.
The one you've got to look at is the one between Phillips and Jimmy Oates on your left-hand side, bottom corner.
You're only just on
See the one on there?
Yeah.
Now that's...
Yeah.
You want to start winning, get
Black
that
socks.
on there then.
And mention our book.
I still think they'll come good though,
Yeah.
playing good football.
Sorry?
Alright.
Say that again.
I said, I still think you'll come good, playing good football.
Yeah, well, we keep trying,
Yeah.
but it doesn't get any easier.
Right.
You know what I was always told?
Win the cup.
A team halfway in the first division or any division by Christmas have got a chance of winning the league.
There you are.
That's a disillusion. That's a disillusion, yeah, but I don't think we're going to win it.
Well, where's the chance? They get 3 points out of it.
We're certainly the top half.
I think.
Well, when they finish it.
Can we
Lennie, there's a couple of other things that I want to ask you. There's the group as a whole have all written a booklet called Memories Are Made of This, isn't it? Which is due to be published in time for Christmas.
Oh, good.
We decided all the profits we want to go to the Valley Development Fund.
Good.
We're going to be printing 1,000, 2,000 copies initially. But what we're approaching, we're applying for sponsorship. We're going to go for New Shopper and Mercury. We're printing costs.
Mercury's the best one, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
they got all the Kevin in right.
In return for a full-page ad on it. But we thought maybe if you would be willing to write a letter of support,
Yeah.
it might help the cause a little bit. I mean, either I could draft a letter out for you, or
Whatever you wanna
just
do.
I could talk to Jackie at the train.
If you ring Jackie and then you just give her a rough idea of how many words and all that, and what and exactly the content, and then I'll knock it out and send it there through you.
Super. That'd be
No
brilliant.
problem.
And the other thing is, some of the lads are wondering whether you've got any videos that you
I've
could
got
lend
hundreds
us.
of
That you could lend us.
I've
yeah,
got
from time to
hundreds
time.
of videos, but they only go back to when the video started. 89. They don't go back any further than that.
When anyone rings up the phone, like a couple of friends of mine have, what?
The Valley?
Sorry.
So there's part.
That's right.
And you know, they want to comment on things that's happening with the club activities. Do they really listen? Or do they just pick it up and say,
I've
oh,
got,
no,
I mean, Anne, the secretary, has got remarkable patience.
Yeah.
I mean, people ring her up and I'm sitting there occasionally looking at her and saying, what the bloody hell are you doing? Why don't you get on with your job, like, you know? And she's got the patience of Joe with people.
Yeah.
Some of them can be right nasty as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that in that respect, especially if Anne answers the phone, we do better. Or young Geraldine who's in there as well. I mean, we do better than most of them. They only answer from what they know. But I mean, you get people ringing up asking all sorts of silly questions. And to be quite honest, especially if there's a big game on, they're so inundated in that office, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
No, we did like that last year actually, you did reply to it. You know,
If you write a letter to me,
we got that.
you will always get a reply. It might not be what you want to hear, but I mean, You'll always
pick the phone up and,
but they might be able to, you know, like say last week, there'll be some people ringing up, some chances of still want to go over there. So they ring up, it's Barclaycard or Access or this or their members, and they sell tickets now on Thursday night at the Valley for a big game. They sold loads of tickets at the Valley Club Thursday night before last Saturday.
Yeah, they can pass their bed.
Right, unless anyone has got any other questions for Lennie?
No, only about the socks. Can we get
You
in?
mentioned that anyway.
Can we get into this AGM if you're not a supporter?
Well, I'm showing that documentary at 10 o'clock. So as I said, I mean, come along and mention.
We're coming at 9.
We're coming at 9. I'm showing the documentary afterwards to text 9.
Yeah, we're coming at 9 to answer questions till about 9:45, I think.
And at 10 o'clock I'm showing, I think. So I mean,
That's next Thursday, isn't it?
next Thursday, 26th, isn't it?
Well, I'd like to say something to you, mate, because I think of all the managers we've had, I don't think anybody has had a more traumatic time at the Valley you must be a bloody saint as well, to put up with what you put up with.
What happens is, I mean, I came here in 82 to do the reserves, and I just thought to myself, I'd been at Lincoln and Plymouth before with the football division, so I thought, right, I'm at the big time, and at the time, Charlton was going to a few quid on players as well. So I thought, great, here, you know, I'm back in London, I thought, lovely, this will do me, terrific. I mean, I thought, you know, if I can get to first team coaching in 2 or 3 years' time, you know, that'd be great. Now, as it turns out, within 3 months, the whole world was turned upside down. Because players had come and gone like one a week, and you know, the manager's gone, and then I got promoted over the first team coach, and went on from there. Now, what's happened is that because of the things that have happened over the years, which are totally unique, liquidation, ground sharing, 5 different chairmen, 3 different administrations, you get a bond with the club, a link, an affection, an attachment, which you possibly wouldn't get in a normal course of events. That's what's happened.
What was it like when you arrived at San Pedro on the
Traumatic. Read all about it in my book.
The best saying is, isn't it, the bloody lions was captain of the Titanic, it would never go down.
It's an interesting one, but I'm getting fed up with hearing it.
Just give us a mid-table position when you land.
No, thanks,
Yeah, it's better than working for a living, that's fair. Yeah, it is indeed. Seems a lifetime ago, that.
What treatment are you having for the ulcers? What treatment are you having for the ulcers?
Fortunately, I've got a reasonably even temperament, so at the moment I haven't got any ulcers.